How you doing there, Jim?
All right, I show 3:01 on the clock. Are you ready? Okay. Welcome to the Board of Equalization meeting. The Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the county boardroom. We'll call the meeting to order. We have Commissioners Mixon, Warren, Klug, and Burmeister. Commissioner Kelly is absent today. We'll start with the pledges of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start with the consent equalization agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's moved by Commissioner Warren and seconded by Commissioner Klug.
Ayes for, absent Kelly.
All agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Equalization is adjourned. And we'll move on to the Board of Commissioners. Are you ready? Okay. So it's 3:03 p.m. We'll start with the County Board Commissioners meeting. We have present Commissioner Mixon, Commissioner Warren, Commissioner Klug, and Commissioner Burmeister. Commissioner Kelly is absent today. We also have the County Administrator, Dan Hoynes, the County Engineer, and am I missing anybody? I don't think so. Commissioners' comments. Start with Commissioner Klug.
No comments, thank you.
Happy birthday, Dan.
Oh,
I know that you wanted to get that out there.
Yeah.
And
Thank you, Commissioner. I
is
appreciate
this
that.
67,
Yeah.
8, 9?
Old enough I shouldn't be here.
He's on the lower end of the 60s. It's just everyone, it's warm out, just stay hydrated, and I wish Dan a happy birthday.
Nothing, Madam Chair.
We'll move on to the consent agenda. Anybody want any items removed from the consent agenda? Okay, is there a motion?
Motion to approve is published.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Klug and seconded by Commissioner Warren. Any comments? Please vote.
Ayes for, absent Kelly.
Next is item 5.1, a public hearing and recommendation to the Liquor Control Commission for Downtime Investments LLC, DBA The Waterfall Lounge, for a Class C beer, wine, distilled spirits on and off sale liquor license for business at 10208 South 168th Avenue, Omaha, Nebraska 68136 in Sarpy County. Ryan Olson, manager. Is Mr. Olson here? Would anyone like to speak at the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
Motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Klug and a second by Commissioner Warren. Any comments, questions? Please vote.
Ayes for, absent Kelly.
Item 5.2 is Resolution 2022-183 and AIA Document B133-2019 with DLR Group, Inc. for architectural and engineering services for minor league baseball, Warner Park renovations, and fiscal year 2023 capital improvement projects in the amount of $76,000. Jacob Betzworth, Lieutenant Sheriff.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Agenda item 22304 engages DLR Group for architectural and engineering services to start the CMAR process to work with Sarpy County, the Storm Chasers, and the construction company on these Major League Baseball improvements. In Major League Baseball auditing Major League Baseball began auditing minor league stadiums over the 3-year period starting about a year ago. We drew the short straw and got the first year. And so they contracted Ewing Cole to audit Warner Park, and we received the report on August 5th of 2021. We got 88 points, and it's kind of like golf. The more points you get, the worse it is. So 88 isn't terrible, but it is out of compliance, and so has to be under 29 or lower by 2023 opening day, under 20 by 2024 opening day, and under 10 by 2025. So the leadership team looked at the project and phased it over the next 3 years, identifying the highest impact areas for phase one, which includes 30 points that are addressed by the Omaha Storm Chasers, costing approximately $100,000, and 29 points addressed by Sarpy County, costing approximately $500,000. And then after that, there's an additional $184,000 in yearly maintenance and capital projects that we are responsible for through our contract. We put those in the CMAR process as well. Those improvements are included in the process for the economy of scale to get it all done at once. And so I'll take any questions you have.
Any questions?
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Klug, seconded by Commissioner Mixon. Any comments, questions?
The only comment I have, Jake, and you can take that back to him, or I may call Marty or one of them and just say, I'm curious to see how they're going to step up in the midst of all this, i.e. the storm chasers themselves or whoever's leasing the stadium at this point, that this is throwing a heavy burden on us because of the change in Major League Baseball. And I think we should all be heavy players in the midst of all this. So,
I can respond to that too as well. I've been working closely with Marty. Next year, they're set for 23 more points, putting us well into compliance for the next year after that. And so the next year that we work with them, mostly we should be assisting them to get their points done in any way we can, probably a little bit with our facilities, but this first year takes a big chunk of that out, and their responsibility grows the next year.
I trust you.
The one other comment would be then with Major League Baseball basically cascading or pushing this down to the minor league parks and wanting to make sure, I guess, all of everything is adequate to where they're at. And maybe this isn't the information you have, and I know they've had a couple tough years with the pandemic, et cetera, but what are the gate receipts like this year so far? And then I think what we're trying to look at is obviously we want to keep pushing those gate receipts up over the years with the improvements and everything, and maybe they don't have an exact plan or anything, but do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I'm working with them monthly with communication about those things and their financials as well. So trying to be good collaborators, but also hold people accountable on both sides. So.
Okay.
And I would just add, Commissioner Mixon, board, that density will equal revenue, and the generations development is certainly, it will be critical to the long-term vitality for that stadium in that area. That's really in the process of going through getting approval of Papillion and parking, and then we'll have a role in terms of parking with the storm chasers. But I think if you're asking about, pun intended, the longer ball play here, when we can create density out there, everybody's going to be better off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
Further comments or questions? Let's see, it was moved by Commissioner Klug and seconded by Commissioner Mixon. Please vote.
A is for, absent Kelly.
Item 5.3 is a juvenile report. Tammy Steensma, Juvenile Services Director.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My report up here for May and June of 2022 for the Juvenile Justice Center. We had 24 bookings in May, 19 in June, 14 admissions in May, and 15 admissions in June. Average daily population pretty much stayed the same at 7. Average length of stay, 15 days and 13 days respectively. Our alternative programs have been increasing, so CARE and PASS, which is our alternative, our truancy program, went up to 89 and 86. What I do want to draw your attention to is to our alternative school. I mentioned in our last meeting that I would have this figure for you. So the alternative school in May had 23 students, but we did have 7 graduates for the 21-22 school year for a total of 408 credits earned, which is just fabulous for the type of youth that we have that are attending the alternative school. We did have a summer school in session in June. We had 16 students attend and had 22 credits earned. So just a great program that we offer for our youth in the summer. Medical stats, our assessments are still up really high. A lot of it has to do with our COVID assessments. We do have youth I've spoke to about before with some severe medical issues, some seizure issues, also with some other trauma. So 90 assessments in May, 81 in June. Just to bring you down to the clients on psych meds, of the 9 youth that we had on psych meds in May, that was a total of 35 meds total, and then June, 8 youth for a total of 29 meds. So a lot of meds that our youth are either coming into the Justice Center on already or possibly placed on in our particular setting by our psychiatrist. And then here's our map. Nothing real changed here, but the dark areas are the youth that we had, so 12 from Sarpy and 2 from Dodge just for month of May. And then in June, we had a little bit more of an outburst there as far as Dodge, Buffalo Hall, Gage, Odo, and then 10 from Sarpy, so kind of across the board there. And then the last thing I just want to draw your attention to, I sent an email out last week about our back to school bash donations that we are receiving. So any school supplies that I'll pick up or can be delivered at the Juvenile Justice Center. And then we are having our annual back to school bash on August 2nd. An invite will be coming to all of you as well. And that will be from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. And if you're available to attend, we'd love to have you there to interact with the youth. There'll be some free food and activities for them to participate in. And then, of course, they'll have the opportunity to pick up a backpack full of school supplies and then also go through our clothing closet. And a shout out to Megan Barrett, who brought me some school supplies today. Can I answer any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy. Item 5.4 is the Community Corrections Report. Jake Burst.
Good afternoon. Oh, she already had it up. All right. Thank you, Tam. Okay, a couple months worth of data here for May and June. I'll go kind of to our year-to-date numbers here. It was a little bit of kind of a tale of 2 months here. May was pretty busy for us. A lot of screenings, a lot of placements on programming. And June, things slowed down a little bit as far as the number of people that we were screening and the number of placements on our community corrections programs. Year-to-date so far, here are our numbers, a little over 35,000 jail beds saved to the tune of about almost $8 million. One of the things I wanted to highlight are the number of screenings and kind of the sharp increase that we've seen since May. This is largely attributed to how first appearance and bond review hearings have sort of been restructured with one of our judges retired, and so things have been reorganized. The communication coming out of county court and with the public defender's office and our office has been just really great, which has been really advantageous for our office to make sure that we're getting all of these assessments done that we can so that the court can make an informed decision to ensure public safety and maximize court appearance, things like that. So that's big for us. Just looking at July's numbers right before I came up here, we're on pace to be in the 60s again. So I'd like to thank a few of our staff publicly who have really kind of taken it upon themselves to make sure that no one's slipping through the cracks. Jeremy Walther, Kate Courtwright, and Stacy Myers have all been doing just a fantastic job. So our electronic monitoring numbers, they remain pretty high. our alcohol monitoring, we've seen a steady decline in the amount of enrollees on that program, but still hovering around 100, and our GPS kind of bounces around. And then this stays pretty steady. The right here are crimes against a person. Usually those are like our protection order violations, our assaults, things like that have gone up a little bit, but for the most part, this pie graph seems to always kind of stay the same. So happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
You bet.
All agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Commissioners is adjourned. We'll move on to the Board of Corrections. Ready? So we have the same commissioners, Mixon, Warren, Klug, and Burmeister. Commissioner Kelly is absent today. The first item is item 3.1, approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve?
Is there a second?
Second.
Move to approve by Commissioner Klug, second by Commissioner Warren. All those in favor, please vote.
A is 4, absent Kelly.
4.1, Adult Corrections, Ryan Marr, Corrections Director.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just go through our standard reports here. As you can see, this is our monthly average for admissions and releases. You can see when you look at this number, the monthly average over a 5-year period of time is 316 admissions, 316 releases, and we're just starting to kind of creep up on that average. When you look at our average daily population, we're heading in the right direction. The last 2 months, we've been below our design capacity, which is as good as we can hope. And a lot of that is just our emphasis on reentry program. You look at the chart below that, and you look at the percentage of our population, our average daily population that has serious mental illness, and you'll see that we're just kind of still between that 10 and 20% range on any given month. We put in our FY23 budget a request for an increase in the nurse practitioner's hours. Our nurse practitioner is our primary diagnoser and assessor of mental illness. So we are waiting for our health services provider to get us the amendment to that contract, and as soon as we get that, we'll get that before the board, and I would expect a real quick impact on this chart and this graph. We'll be able to help quite a few people. And then here, even though our numbers are heading in the right direction as far as our average daily population, you see that the mental illness and then the physical well-being of our population, that number's quite high as well. So you can see this is just our emergency medical care, emergency room visits, and you can see some of that COVID related, but here in 2022, that number's really high. So addressing that, I'd be happy to answer any questions about our current facility.
Any questions for Ryan?
With the emergency medical care, do you have like a Pareto chart or anything that indicates what the majority of those are and what they're classified as?
I don't know that we have that chart, but the majority that I see in the day-to-day reports would be heart-related, seizure type of activity. Yeah. Okay.
Any other questions? Item 4.2, new jail, Sarpy County Correctional Center, Ryan Marr, Corrections Director.
Okay. And so we're going to go tour the new facility here pretty quickly. Not sure why that's not pulling up there. There you go. So you can see that most of the masonry work in the new facility is completed. They're running ductwork throughout the facility. They're still putting in some conduit. And they've started, if you're looking at one picture, that's just one over from the right-hand side of that screen, they're putting in the ceiling grids. Our Area C, which we'll take a look at today, is the courtroom, administrative, and reception area. Most of that drywall is up in that. With the concrete masonry work, about 95% completed. You really be able to get a look at the structure of the facility and how it's going to lay out and kind of how we're going to operate. From an operational standpoint, I'll tell you all that today we have 20 of our officers over in the sheriff's office doing motivational interview training, and this is really the first step towards that direct supervision, just giving them an evidence-based program on how to communicate with their population, and that's going to be our goal for all of our staff. All of our new officers coming in will participate in that training. National Institute of Corrections, they're still kind of going through their approval process as far as being able to travel out to the states. So we're trying to work with them to establish a time. We'll probably partner with another facility to do that direct supervision training on site. But we're going to do everything that we can to be prepared to go as soon as we can get that facility. So that's just one of the steps as far as training and getting prepared to take the facility. Doing an operational scenario is one of our priorities for each area of this operation. You'll see that today, that how we operate booking, how we operate pre-booking, how we're going to operate medical, behavioral health, food service, every aspect of our operation. So we can discuss some of that as we go today. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
A broad general question. I've had surprisingly multiple people ask, are there going to be any kind of jail tours, open house?
So that's something that's on our list of items to address. And, we'll have that conversation with all of you on how we want to do that. I know there's been some discussion about Sarpy County employees. One of the things we'll have to do is test all the systems in the facility. So that's a nice thing about having a bunch of people in, is we can test the plumbing systems. But there are security issues with having people from the community coming into the facility. And we'll have
Ryan
to
did offer each board member a free night stay.
Well, somebody even
Small donation.
they were somewhere when they opened up a new facility, and they actually, you could book a night stay. And I'm going, seriously?
Yeah, we've had that discussion. I've asked Ryan for a final recommendation. There's some security issues with that,
I
but
would think so.
we'll get there.
I
The
know
offer
how-
still stands for you. We're not worried about security.
Is that before or after opening?
Well, that's what I told them. I know how you can get in after it opens.
Right.
Not from experience, of course.
Yes, absolutely. Anything else?
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Item 5 is the quarterly jail inspection. Do we recess the meeting for that?
I think
Okay.
typically, yeah.
So we'll recess. Having been addressed as published, the Board of Corrections is adjourned.